AI search platforms are driving real phone calls to local businesses. You need to sit up and listen to this one. Okay, so there's this new rundown from Search Engine Journal, which is really interesting. They did like a live where they broke down a lot of what was discussed. They do a really nice Q1 2026 recap. So sort of what's been happening in the first part of the year. AI mode crossed 100 million monthly active users in the US and India. OpenAI began testing ads inside of ChatGPT, which we know about. And then between Google and OpenAI, there are now multiple ways to place ads inside AI-generated answers. And then we get on to this really interesting study about they analyzed 20 million inbound calls from a company called CallRail. So the research was conducted by CallRail. And it shows how AI search is driving high intent leads and reshaping customer discovery. Now, we've already discussed this multiple times on the value of a single potential lead via SEO compared to other channels such as Google Organic and how much more valuable that could be. So to get some granular research into people that are calling local businesses as a direct result from places like ChatGPT is super interesting. And this data is fascinating. So some of the key takeaways that AI search is now creating measurable customer demand, not just visibility noise. CallRail data shows AI influenced inbound calls grew by 30% in 4 months. That is pretty huge. And it's on an upward trajectory that is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, isn't it? And in fact, I have been making calls from ChatGPT directly, which is weird because we talked about this recently about how you've sort of stopped using Google sooner than I did. I'm more like in ChatGPT and then I'll sort of dive into Google. But recently I needed to make an appointment with like a local company. I asked who the best was in my town. They gave it me and they included the number in the output. So I just clicked the number and made the call, which is crazy, I think.
So wait, is this saying that like people who called from ChatGPT, or is this just like they ask like, where did you find us? And people said like ChatGPT or Perplexity? Because I can't imagine, surely it's about like, where they ask where did you find us, and someone said, oh, I found you in ChatGPT.
Yeah, influenced by AI search. Okay. Yeah.
So not necessarily that they got the phone number from ChatGPT, but they found them and then
they found the company from ChatGPT. Yeah.
Where did you find us? They say ChatGPT. Okay.
Yeah, but which I imagine is it's hard to track specifically because even though I made that call directly from ChatGPT, they're not. Unless you're going through like a call routing software program, then you're not going to be able to actually track specifically where the calls have come from. But if you're actively tracking where your customers are coming from, like you said, from a form or from a question, then you're going to be able to find out. And this is obviously, we know, is the research phase of lots of customers, especially like when you're looking for local businesses. So it makes sense it's going to start in these AI platforms and that we're going to have this like huge growth in people making calls as an influence from these platforms. Biggest industries, so legal, travel, retail, agencies, healthcare, real estate, and manufacturing, notable AI search impact. If we go down here, we can see industries seeing the earliest AI search impact. So calls from AI search are not evenly distributed across industries. Certain sectors are already seeing a higher share of AI influence than others. CallRail's data shows that legal, manufacturing, and marketing agencies are the industries seeing the earliest AI search impact.
Marketing agencies is strange. Legal is not strange because there's so much. It's such a often spammy industry in some sections, not all. So don't get mad. But it is like one of those where you need a lot of trust and like you don't know how to vet, right? Like, whoever's number one on Google isn't because they're the best firm. It's because they have the biggest SEO budget. So that one makes total sense. Manufacturing is super interesting. I guess there's a lot of questions around manufacturing, right? So that makes it a great discovery. Marketing agency. Yeah, I guess it's the same thing as legal, right? It's a lot of spamminess. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, these ones, I mean, legal just makes sense, doesn't it? It just looks like, that's where you're going to potentially not even know what it is that you need. You start your research there, you find the right sort of lawyer that you need, then the right law firm, and then, your research is all done and concluded. Manufacturing, again, like you said, I completely agree. It's probably so many questions around certain things. We're working with a number of like manufacturing companies at the minute, and like the sort of regulations and codes and stuff that those guys have to put in front of their customers, or the customers are potentially going to be looking for, is crazy. But yeah, marketing agencies. But I suppose it's, lots of questions again. Who knows?
Let's get to the sources. I want to see these sources. The platforms. There you go.
Yeah.
ChatGPT. That's what I thought. 90%.
Yeah. So this is super interesting. So across the 20 million calls analyzed, ChatGPT, and this is why we're doing a lot of our content around AI search visibility. Obviously, AI search visibility is the basis of all our content. We are using ChatGPT as the sort of default platform, and there is a reason for that, and that reason is right in front of us in this pie graph.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the one built most for that. And Gemini, actually, I do like Gemini. I don't use it as much. We use Claude a lot, but not for discovery. You use Perplexity a lot more than I do. But ChatGPT, it's kind of become right now, this could change, of course, but it kind of has like filled the role of Google, like the discovery, research. So yeah, that's not surprising at all.
I use almost exclusively now, apart from Claude for coding, Gemini for some projects that I want to base outside of like a Google-based tool like Google Docs or Excel. I almost exclusively use ChatGPT and Perplexity, and I will use Perplexity for factual searches, and then I will use ChatGPT for anything where I want to have like an open conversation or discussion or opinion.
Yeah. Honestly, the only time this is the only time I'll use Google these days, which maybe Gemini is a better use case for this, is when I want a simple answer. Because, like the other day I was looking up the cast of some show, right? Like, I just want to see the names. I don't want anything else. Like, the AI overview is perfect. Where if you ask in ChatGPT, you get like this long, you know what I mean? So there's like, that's the only time I think ChatGPT isn't a good fit, and those are the kind of searches that don't send traffic anyway. So
yeah, well, that's weird. I thought you knew the cast of Glee like off by heart.
Yeah, not Glee, but actually I don't know the cast of that. But
okay, so we show different patterns across AI assistants. Closer look at the data reveals that industries cluster differently across AI search platforms. ChatGPT shows the highest level of discovery for consumer-facing industries, automotive, healthcare, and then legal. I think that makes sense. Perplexity shows high traction in travel, hospitality, real estate, and manufacturing, suggesting a user base that looks to AI for detailed logistics and research-heavy tasks. This is interesting because I would bucket these all with for ChatGPT.
Just across the board.
Yeah. And then Gemini, modest, early impact, concentrated in manufacturing, business, service, education. Education makes sense. I think Google Gemini is completely geared and built, especially some of their like offshoot products like Notebook LM and things like that. And then Claude, I just wouldn't. Claude is just not built for this, in my opinion.